Okay, media, we need to talk. We need to talk about uh, Donald Trump's rally speech tonight in Arizona. And excuse me if I'm talking a little fast or a little loud, but it is past my bedtime and I'm trying to stay awake. I had to stay awake for this rally speech. Um, I liked at the beginning, even though I didn't get to hear their speeches, that Alveda King spoke before the rally began or to open up the rally. My favorite person, the person who I supported throughout the primary, Dr. Ben Carson was there speaking. So I was like, yay, Dr. Ben, Dr. Ben. And Franklin Graham spoke. And then, of course, Vice President Michael Pence opened up the rally. He spent a few minutes sounding like the wonderful nationalist that he is. I am a nationalist, so it appealed to me as part of his base. Talking about America coming first. We have the best workers. We need to have our jobs here. That we need to put America first, and that we have a movement of love. And it's love for struggling Americans, for children who wish for their dreams to come true. And he spoke of loyalty. That loyalty to America means that we have loyalty to each other, that we are in this together, a message of love and unity. And then he went on to point out how dishonest the media is, which is always a big crowd pleaser. And then he went on to talking about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I happen to like Sheriff Joe. Sheriff Joe was enforcing law enforcement laws, especially against illegal immigrants. And the federal government says that's not PC. We're not supposed to treat our illegal immigrants by housing them in tents and making them go out and do manual labor. That's bad. So the federal government actually went after him and brought him up on charges, and it was a non-jury trial. So, he had a judge trial, or what we'd call a bench trial, and he was found guilty of doing his job. And even the president admitted that Sheriff Joe was convicted of doing his job, and wouldn't come out and say that Joe Arpaio, Sheriff Joe, would be getting a pardon. But basically, he said, you're getting a pardon, but it's just not going to happen tonight because I'm not supposed to stir up any controversy. Whether or not Sheriff Joe Arpaio was actually in the building today, I don't know. But he says, yes, you will be fine. He went on to talk about how he's cracking down on sanctuary cities, which is a good thing. And if they want to be a sanctuary city, no federal funding. Pull the strings. Let them support themselves. California wants to secede, which they can't do. Let them support themselves. Give it a trial error to see if they can make it on their own, kind of thing. But yes, no more federal aid to sanctuary cities or sanctuary states. He's still in Trump still is insisting that we're going to build the wall. Building the wall, I think, is important. But, Trump, he is the wall. They found out Trump's in office and immigration has plummeted. I think it's dropped down more than 50% since the inauguration. So Donald Trump is the wall, but he is still promising that wall. So still saying he's going to keep up on his campaign promises. He again spoke of Congress, telling Congress that it is their job to represent American families, American workers, and Americans in general. And he told the Congress, or he told the House, it's their job to represent the American family and the American worker. And to the Senate, his message to them was that they need to get rid of the filibuster rule so that we can get some things passed. And that's true, we do. He went on to talk about health care. And I think I'm going to save that for the end. Let's see. He talked about some of his successes, such as making the Veterans Administration accountable for treating our veterans. He's increased defense spending, which again could go to our veterans, but also to promote peace through strength, which I think if you've got big bad weapons, some countries are less willing to engage with you in a weapons war. So peace through strength, I don't have an issue with that. He talked about how he appointed a Supreme Court justice, a conservative Supreme Court justice, and then he alluded to that there will be more justices that will need to be replaced. The stock market going up and up and up since he was elected because it was predicted to crash upon his election, and instead it's broken records. GDP, he mentioned, had gone up 2.6%. He was hoping that by the end of his term it would be 3%. So he says that it's going to outpace the hopes or the goals that he had for increasing the GDP. At the currently they're trying to get tax reform through so that we can save more of our own money, perhaps keep a lot of money in our paychecks. I'd like to see property taxes lowered, but I know that's more of a state issue than a federal issue. He's talking about if he cannot work out a deal with the Canadians and the Mexicans. I believe it's the Canadians and both the Mexicans and America that are in NAFTA. But if he cannot work out a deal with NAFTA, that he will terminate NAFTA, which is a good thing. Nobody wanted NAFTA. And, you know, lately we've been seeing reports of truck drivers unaware that they're carrying illegal aliens in their truck trailers. And in some cases, some of those illegal aliens have died. So I think NAFTA might cut down on some of that as far as smuggling people across the border in tractor trailers that aren't being checked at the border because of NAFTA. It will save Mexican lives. He also mentioned that we are the greatest, for the first time ever, we are the greatest exporter of energy thanks to the clean coal and natural gas that we are harvesting. And he really just has a lot of faith in the American people and in the American worker, in the American children, and the futures that they're going to have. So it's a very lifting speech. Now, I have to say about Sheriff Joe, when he was singled out for doing his job of punishing illegal aliens in his court system, the federal agents that went under him were under President Obama, so not President Trump. So it was purely a political move. I don't understand how you can prosecute a sheriff for doing their job, but in these PC times, it happens. Now I'm going to go back up. He did mention healthcare and how healthcare did not pass because it was one vote short. And we all know who that one vote was. But I want to talk about Arizona because in Arizona alone, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, has increased in Arizona itself 116%. 116% increase in healthcare costs in Arizona. Ironic because it's their Senator John McCain. I'm sorry, I'm used to calling him John McCain. I am ashamed of him that he is an American. But John McCain was the only vote, the sole vote, who voted down repeal and replace. even though he had campaigned on this for years, that he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare. See, I'm tired. I told you I was tired. And when push came to shove, when the vote was there, and he knew he was the only vote, it was up to him, he voted health care down, repeal and replace of health care down. And there are other reasons why I call John McCain, John McShane, is because we know that we have photographs. We know he was dealing arms to the FSA in Syria. We know that he was dealing with the Muslim Brotherhood. We know that he has armed our enemies. We know that he's armed people that will be shooting at our people, possibly in Afghanistan, now that we're sending troops back to Afghanistan. And I'm not very happy about Afghanistan, by the way, but stand by on that one. Jeff Flake is weak on borders. He wants to let anyone in and let them stay, even if they're criminals. And as a result, crime has also gone up in Arizona. Flake and McCain are two reasons, the poster boys, as to why we need to have term limits. And I mean extreme term limits. You should not be in Congress for more than, and I'm being generous, 12 to 20 years. So break that up into maybe 3 terms. After that, step down. And I really wish that Trump would have gone a little bit further and said, if there is anyone in any county, in any state that does not support what I'm trying to do in Washington, D.C., I will actively go out there and I will actively campaign in the primaries against you and for your opponent. And these people will lose, because the problems that we are having, worse than the Democrats, because we expect it from the Democrats. Other than the Democrats, the worst people that we have in office right now are the never-Trumpers. And the never-Trumpers need to join the train, or they need to get off and get out of politics. They're the reason why government is not working. Jeff Flake and John McCain, they are in Arizona. The Apache reservation, or Apache land, is in Arizona. The land is called Oak Flats. And Jeff Flake and John McCain also voted to give Oak Flats, a sacred mountain, to the Apache, to give them to foreign mining interests. Just so you know that they've also betrayed not just the American people, not just white people, but Navajo people as well. And they got that through a midnight spending bill, where if the spending bill did not get approved, then the government would have been shut down. And by the way, Donald Trump, President Trump, said that he will build the wall, even if the government has to suffer a shutdown for it. So definitely get on the phones to your senators, call them, tell them to support the president's agenda, tell them to support tax reform, and make yourself a pest if you need to be. If you need numbers, let me know. I will look them up for you, and I will get them to you. And, you know, the war in Afghanistan, I'm not really sure what to say about that. I was thinking about making a video all day. The problem with making a video is I've heard a couple of different things. Steve Bannon is out and the military complex is in. As you know, Steve Bannon was a non-interventionist, and now the president is surrounded by generals, and he's letting the generals run their own show when it comes to Afghanistan, Iraq, India, Pakistan. It's not Pakistan. It's Pakistan. It has an A in there. A by itself is an A. So Pakistan, India, which those two do not get along, by the way, so that's kind of curious as to how they're going to play against each other. No timetable in Afghanistan, so we could be there 6 months, we could be there for another 3 years, making this a 20-year war. We're there to kill terrorists. Afghanistan wants us there, okay, but I'm still against being in Afghanistan and in the Middle East, because it seems we get sucked in there and we're not getting out. And I want to know, and he needs to come clean with the American people, what the exit strategy is. And the reason why I say Bannon is out and the military-industrial complex is in is for the simple fact that a lot of people in the government high up have been making a lot of money off of Afghanistan. You know, so Bannon's out, military-industrial complex in. After listening to Trump's speech, I was kind of confused. I'm like, okay, what's the mission? What's the objective? What are we going to do here? I didn't hear an objective spelled out. What's our exit strategy? How are we going to define success at a point that we bow out and we leave? So what's the exit strategy? Now, this war in Afghanistan has always been about profit. And when you think about it, poppies are what heroin is, what's made out of heroin. And so this is the heroin trade coming out of Afghanistan, that our soldiers are protecting poppy fields to make heroin. So we talk about the opioid epidemic, and yet we're protecting it in Afghanistan and sending it back home. You know, lots of natural gas to be had in Afghanistan. Lots of natural gas. Clean energy. And mining. Oh my gosh, this could be one of the biggest mining booms in the world. I mean, you're mining not just minerals, you're mining, you know, iron and copper and gold and lithium for our computers, for batteries. I mean, it's a cash cow over there. And it's also a great staging ground because of where it's located strategically. So I think that this is all about money. You know, and I think that Donald Trump, when he was campaigning, promised that we were going to get out of Afghanistan. And I noticed that this new policy comes out the weekend that they fire Bannon, who was a non-interventionist. And around the same time that we were starting to see stories that where the Secret Service is telling Donald Trump and his family, hey, Trump, we might not have enough money to protect you and your family. So you might want to think about that. You want to think about us not being able to protect you. So I think he chickened out and said, okay, we're going to stay in Afghanistan and I'm not going to micromanage. You all can do it yourself. And I actually love bosses who do not micromanage myself. But I don't know how well that works in the military, maybe better. I heard that Obama micromanaged and that was a mess. So anyway, so those are just my thoughts tonight on Afghanistan and on the president's rally speech this evening. If there's anything more that I'll think about, I might come back tomorrow and make another video, but I am going to be at work, so I might be tired. So if I have enough energy and there's more to add, then you will definitely see me back. All right. So if you like what I had to say, please subscribe to my channel so you get all of my updates. Make sure the bell comes on, the little bars around the bell, and comment as you see fit. And it is past my bedtime. So good night, YouTube.